Carl Jung, born July 26, 1875, Keswil, Switzerland, died June 6, 1961, K. Snacht, was a Swiss psychologist and psychiatrist who founded analytic psychology, in some aspects a response to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis. Jung proposed and developed the concepts of the extraverted and the introverted personality, archetypes, and the collective unconscious. His work has been influential in psychiatry and in the study of religion, literature, and related fields. Early life and career. Jung was the son of a philologist and pastor. His childhood was lonely, although enriched by a vivid imagination, and from an early age he observed the behavior of his parents and teachers, which he tried to resolve. Especially concerned with his father's failing belief in religion, he tried to communicate to him his own experience of God. In many ways, the elder Jung was a kind and tolerant man, but neither he nor his son succeeded in understanding each other. Jung seemed destined to become a minister, for there were a number of clergymen on both sides of his family. In his teens, he discovered philosophy and read widely, and this, together with the disappointments of his boyhood, led him to forsake the strong family tradition and to study medicine and become a psychiatrist. He was a student at the universities of Basel 1895-1900 and Zurich Emd 1902. He was fortunate in joining the staff of the Bergelsli Asylum of the University of Zurich at a time 1900, when it was under the direction of Eugene Bleuler, whose psychological interests had initiated what are now considered classical studies of mental illness. At Bergelsli, Jung began, with outstanding success, to apply association tests initiated by earlier researchers. He studied, especially, patients' peculiar and illogical responses to stimulus words and found that they were caused by emotionally charged clusters of associations withheld from consciousness because of their disagreeable, immoral to them, and frequently sexual content. He used the now famous term complex to describe such conditions. These researches, which established him as a psychiatrist of international repute, led him to understand Freud's investigations. His findings confirmed many of Freud's ideas, and for a period of 5 years between 1907 and 1912, he was Freud's close collaborator. He held important positions in the psychoanalytic movement and was widely thought of as the most likely successor to the founder of psychoanalysis. But this was not to be the outcome of their relationship, partly for temperamental reasons, and partly because of differences of viewpoint. The collaboration ended. At this stage, Jung differed with Freud largely over the latter's insistence on the sexual basis of neurosis. A serious disagreement came in 1912 with the publication of Jung's Wandlungen and Symbol der Libido Psychology of the Unconscious, 1916, which ran counter to many of Freud's ideas. Although Jung had been elected president of the International Psychoanalytic Society in 1911, he resigned from the society in 1914. His first achievement was to differentiate two classes of people according to attitude types: extroverted, outward-looking, and introverted, inward-looking. Later, he differentiated 4 functions of the mind: thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition, one or more of which predominate in any given person. Results of this study were embodied in Psychologische Typen, 1921, Psychological Types, 1923. Jung's wide scholarship was well manifested here, as it also had been in the psychology of the unconscious. As a boy, Jung had remarkably striking dreams and powerful fantasies that had developed with unusual intensity. After his break with Freud, he deliberately allowed this aspect of himself to function again and gave the irrational side of his nature free expression. At the same time, he studied it scientifically by keeping detailed notes of his strange experiences. He later developed the theory that these experiences came from an area of the mind that he called the collective unconscious, which he held was shared by everyone. This much contested conception was combined with the theory of archetypes that Jung held as fundamental to the study of the psychology of religion. In Jung's terms, archetypes are instinctive patterns, have a universal character, and are expressed in behavior and images. Character of his psychotherapy, Jung devoted the rest of his life to developing his ideas, especially those on the relation between psychology and religion. In his view, obscure and often neglected texts of writers in the past shed unexpected light not only on Jung's own dreams and fantasies but also on those of his patients. He thought it necessary for the successful practice of their art that psychotherapists become familiar with writings of the old masters. Besides the development of new psychotherapeutic methods that derived from his own experience and the theories developed from them, Jung gave fresh importance to the so-called Hermetic tradition. He conceived that the Christian religion was part of a historic process necessary for the development of consciousness, and he also thought that the heretical movements, starting with Gnosticism and ending in alchemy, were manifestations of unconscious archetypal elements not adequately expressed in the mainstream forms of Christianity. He was particularly impressed with his finding that alchemical, like symbols could be found frequently in modern dreams and fantasies. And he thought that alchemists had constructed a kind of textbook of the collective unconscious. He expounded on this in 4 out of the 18 volumes that make up his collected works. Comments for Part 2 video.